Yep.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Planning Advisory Committee meeting for January 3rd, 2025. Do we have any declaration of pecuniary interest? No? Okay. Everybody has the agenda. I have to adopt the agenda?
Yes. It is moved by Dan Gagne and seconded by Roland Larrabee. Be it resolved that the agenda for the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on July 3rd, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Everybody had a chance to read up? Everything's okay? Bring it to a vote. Everybody in favor? Go ahead. Minutes.
It is moved by Roland Larrabee and seconded by Dan Gagne. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on April 8th, 2025 be adopted as presented. And this one is on here because if you'll remember at our May meeting, the minutes themselves weren't attached to the agenda, so we're bringing them back now.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, we'll move on to the zoning 5.1.
Sorry,
Oh,
my apologies.
Sorry.
Got two sets of minutes to adopt.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead
No
with
problem.
the second one.
Thank you. It is moved by Dan Gagne and seconded by Roland Larrabee. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on May 13th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
No questions on it? We're all good? Carried.
Thank you.
Zoning bylaw amendment application, ZBLA 2025/06, Carole Martin, Sébastien Toulouse.
Thank you. It is moved by Roxanne Louis and seconded by Dan Gagne. Be it whereas a public meeting was held on July 3rd, 2025 for the purpose of amending zoning bylaw 2014-45, and whereas no written concerns or objections have been received to the proposed amendment, be it resolved that the Planning Advisory Committee for the Municipality of West Nipissing recommends that Council for the West Nipissing Municipality adopts the proposed zoning bylaw to rezone the property at 910 Canal Road, and more particularly shown on the attached sketch, and that Schedule H4-2 of bylaw number 2014-45 shall be amended by changing the zoning designation of the properties shown on Schedule A attached here too, which properties are more particularly described as part of Lot 8, Concession B, Parts 3 and 4, Plan 36R 10453, Springer Township, from shoreline residential with a hazard overlay to tourist commercial exception zone 2 with a hazard overlay. So if you just give me 1 second here, I'll pull the presentation. So this is a property that is on Canal Road. It does have frontage on the Sturgeon River. The property is currently zoned shoreline residential, and they're looking to go to a tourist commercial zone. This property was previously part of a tourist lodge, probably 15, 20 years ago, and it was subsequently split and went to a shoreline residential zone. The property owners are now looking to develop a tourist establishment, which is why they're looking to go to this zone. The site-specific zone attached to this will be so that the parcel that's on the riverside and the parcel that's on the back lot side have to be sold and handled together. Because that road splits through the middle, technically they would have a natural severance and could sell them separately. Because that waterfront portion really doesn't function sufficiently as its own, that's why we're putting that site-specific zone in there.
Okay, so that'll stay in as you cannot sell either or.
Exactly, yeah.
Any questions from our panel? Go ahead, Monsieur Larrabee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You stated that was a business at one time?
I believe so,
It was
yes.
part of a business at one time, and they turned residential, and now they want to bring it back commercial.
That is correct, yes.
Perfect. I'm in favor of that.
Okay,
So I guess just my question is, how are they going to meet the sanitation portion? Are they going to have a lagoon back there? Is every building, are they going to be, are they going to have a field bed, or just, that's all I'm wondering, because I think there was eight or 12?
cottage,
Yes.
Eight cabins.
right?
So I'm just wondering how, pardon me?
Sorry, there's total of 8 cabins plus the house on the other side.
Yes.
The house currently has a septic of its own on the far side of the road. That's another reason for joining the two together, because if you allowed the house just to be sold, it has no septic system and it would have to be condemned. You can see right at the upper right-hand corner, there's 2 field beds proposed. We hired Crystal Barnes from Full Circle Designs. Crystal had been with the Conservation Authority for many years before going out as a private consultant. So she did all the flow calculations, designed the septic beds to ensure that it would adequately meet the demand. And she also confirmed that the flows for the 8 cabins and the house are still well under the 10,000 minimum requirement for environmental compliance approval through the MECP.
No problem. Kathleen, you had your hand up?
Yeah, just a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I have a couple of questions on the not the key map that's provided, the map from CGIS that's provided with the red star on it. It indicates that the property located directly north is zoned shoreline residential. Is that correct?
So through you, Mr. Chair, that property has been since rezoned to a C3 zone as well. I believe it was in 2023, maybe a bit before that, but it has rezoned since, because the maps that we have that we use in these schedules are the original 2014 maps. It's just out of date, but that property immediately adjacent to it is C3 now.
Okay, and on the kind of draft of the plan or whatever, a couple of the cottages fall very close to the property lines. Are the setbacks appropriate for that are proposed appropriate for commercial?
So through you, Mr. Chair, this is still a preliminary drawing. This is not an exact layout of the application. When they do come in for their building permit applications, we will ensure that they are meeting
Follow
the
the
setbacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's not the concerns with having commercial residential that there would be if that property north has already been rezoned to commercial. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I think that was my main concern, that in that map it showed us residential, so I was concerned about the impacts on sensitive land use if it was still residential. It actually, in the planning report, it said that a business plan was attached, but the copy that I have, not a business plan attached. Is that correct?
My apologies. It should have, I'm sorry, it should have been attached. Essentially, it was just saying that they're looking at doing 8 small housekeeping cottages, short-term rentals for people to come up, rent boats, fish, that sort of thing.
Okay, are they bedroom?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What, sorry, Kathleen?
Sorry, are they be 1-bedroom units, or are they proposed to be 2-bedroom units?
Would you know, Paul?
I think Don may have the answer on that one.
1 bedroom.
Don?
1 bedroom units.
1 bedroom. Okay.
The water supply for those cottages is going to be drilled wells?
Well, the well's already there.
Okay, and it has adequate flow to serve all of those additional units?
Yep.
Okay,
Any
And
more
the-
questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
on the if you go on the map, there's some existing structures in those locations. Are those going to be removed for construction?
The garage won't be.
Well, I'm talking at the north kind of side of it. There looks to be, I don't know, sheds or
Can you bring it up on screen, please?
page
I believe those are on the neighboring property.
page 23.
It's on the neighboring property.
No,
The next page, Yeah, that's right there.
so
Those
there's,
are all, that's all gone.
okay,
It shows the lines crossing the buildings.
Yeah, they're not exactly where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I'm not talking on the road, near the road, on the north side of the property. There looks to be 2 structures there, according to the aerial. So I'm just asking if those are there. Are they gone? Are they going to be removed?
Which ones are you talking about?
On
Ones
the
that are highlighted on the screen.
by the property line on the north.
The one she has circled right now?
Yes.
I can't see that. It's on my phone.
Yes. Yes, the ones that are circled.
They're not there anymore.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Any more questions from our panel?
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing none, I'll bring it to a vote. Anybody in favor? Carried. Move on to 5.2. ZBLA 2025/07, Linda Senecal.
It is moved by Dan Gagne and seconded by Roxanne Louis, whereas a public meeting was held on July 3rd, 2025 for the purpose of amending zoning bylaw 2014-45, and whereas no written concerns or objections have been received to the proposed amendment, be it resolved that the Planning Advisory Committee for the Municipality of West Nipissing recommends that Council for the West Nipissing Municipality adopts the proposed zoning bylaw to rezone a portion of the property at 234 at Lever as more particularly shown on the attached sketch, and that Schedule F5-4 of bylaw 2014-45 shall be amended by changing the zoning designation of the property as shown on Schedule A attached here too, which is more particularly described as part of Lot 2, Concession 2, Part 2, Plan 36R 15290, Springer Township, from shoreline residential to shoreline residential exception zone 22 to allow for a detached additional dwelling unit. So through you, Mr. Chair, this application is very similar to ones we've seen in the past. This property, you may recognize, it was subject to a consent application last year. That is just being finalized as we speak. So this zoning amendment will apply just to the severed portion of that lot. The property currently contains a single detached dwelling, and they are looking for a site-specific zone to allow for a detached additional dwelling unit on the property.
And that'll be on part 2, the outline, the red.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Now, is it where is that where the new proposed unit is supposed to be? Yes.
Yes, approximately around there. Yes.
Okay. And obviously that'll conform to the setbacks and everything that for a new build.
Yes.
Is this a one unit? Do you know, Paul, if it's a 2-bedroom unit or a 1-bedroom unit?
I think it's 2 bedrooms, but I'm not positive. It's not our application.
Yeah,
But
okay.
just judging by the size, it would appear to be sufficient for a 2-bedroom.
Okay. Any questions from our panel? Go ahead, Kathleen.
I just bring. There's no indication on the size that they're planning to build that.
At this time, there's not. I have been speaking with the applicant. They're still in the works of actually developing a plan for that property, but they are aware of that 75% restriction and have totally intending to stay well below that.
All right, and you'll make sure that it.
Yes, that the building permit stage
that,
will definitely check that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and on page 32, you have the tables, the official plan. And in that, you've highlighted the uses in the rural district, but this property is actually in the waterfront district.
So through Mr. Chair, as per the official plan schedule, it is actually within the rural district.
It's not a shoreline residential property.
That is correct.
The current zoning is shoreline residential.
Yes, the current zoning is shoreline residential. The current official plan designation is rural.
Okay, I'm a little confused on that. What's the different, like, what do you have to do to be waterfront? I'm confused on that because waterfront would indicate to me shoreline residential, right?
So the official plan, again, I wasn't here when it was developed, so I can't guarantee for sure. But all of the properties that are on the north part of the Sturgeon River are within that rural district. They are not within the waterfront district. I believe that was kind of reserved for the smaller lots that were fronting on waterfront.
Okay. Thank you.
Have any question, Mark? No. Yeah. No? Any-
Yeah, with just the one concern about the waterfront, but I'm just as confused as Kathleen.
So from what they're saying, Sam, is whatever, from what's on the official plan now, it is okay to do a separate unit on that property, correct?
So
Because it's shoreline or because it's rural?
the rural district within the official plan does identify other uses permitted being accessory uses to the main use such as an accessory dwelling. The zoning bylaw amendment is required because the shoreline residential allows for one unit within the main dwelling, not in a separate detached structure, and that's what the variance is for here.
Okay,
We have seen similar applications in both the rural district and that waterfront district in the official plan.
all right. Any more questions? Go ahead, Kathleen.
I'll just make a comment. I'm still really uncomfortable with having detached use on shoreline residential. I know these are discussions that are ongoing, during the revisions we're looking at with the official plan, but without kind of any specifications on how that's supposed to be implemented. At this point, we don't even know whether, once all of the changes are made and approved by council, if they will be permitted going forward, but they're not right now. And so every time we make exceptions, we're pretty much saying that the zoning bylaw as it's written doesn't apply, because it's clear that in shoreline residential it is not permitted. So when we make exceptions, we're basically saying it is, and there's not actually specifications in the zoning bylaw as far as setbacks within waterfront or this or that yet, because they're not permitted. So I'm generally uncomfortable with these, but I think you all know that by now because I've said it before. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No? Hearing none, I'll bring it to a vote. Anybody in favor? Carried. So we're done. For the adjournment.
All right. It is moved by Roxanne Louise and seconded by Dan Garnier. Be it resolved that the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting be adjourned to tentatively August 7th, 2025. I will reach out closer to the date to let you know if we have social applications to have an August meeting.
Okay, everybody in favor for August 7th? We're good.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
When's council meeting in August?
12.